If I gave you $50,000, what would you do with it? You had to invest it in your business. If I gave you $100,000, what would you do with it? $150,000, $200,000, $250,000, what would you do? Where would you invest that money in your business? That was the question that was asked this morning with one of our men's groups of owners, leaders in businesses. And it was really interesting to hear where the money would be spent. It's a fun exercise to go through. As we're thinking about, as we're building, we're trying to build sustainable, scalable businesses, right? So one of the ambitions is obviously we're trying to attract great talent. We're trying to train great talent with the intention of to retain great talent. If that's what you're trying to build, Jerry, and you had 50 grand, where would you spend that? If you had 100,000, where would you spend that? And the interesting part of the exercise is, some of the guys, myself included, some of the investment would go into capital expenses, right? We need trucks, equipment. Some might go invest in, I need more people, I need a building, I need more infrastructure, I need to hire some leaders, some developers of people, across the board. Interesting exercise, kind of like a disrupting thought exercise. But many of us, and many of us have businesses that have been around a long time or longer, and we could actually turn dials to say, okay, if we wanted to create an extra $50,000 in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever, 100,000, whatever you pick the dollar amount, and you know that you can turn the dials to make that money. What would you do with that money? So it's an interesting exercise to first think about, if I gave you the money to invest in your business, what would you do with it? And then what would the benefit of that investment be? And then to ask yourself the question is like, why don't I just go create that and do it, right? Which is, one of my friends that was on the call, his business is just launched. He just celebrated, congratulations. He just celebrated a year. First year in business, way to go. So it might not be realistic for him to say, well, maybe it is for the second year, right? That if I wanted to create an extra $50,000 this year, he may hire his second or third employee, right? But you still got to go, most of us bootstrapped our businesses, so you got to go create the money, and then with the money, you got to invest it. But investing it, and then another piece to this, which was fascinating, was what about my leadership team? So there's 4 guys on my leadership team. What if you went to each of them individually and said, hey, look, if I gave you 50 grand to invest in the business, what would you do with it? Or 100 grand or whatever. What would be telling, I'll do this, by the way, and I'll report back on it. It's like, what does it say about my leadership if all 4 guys are not in alignment with what they do with that $50,000? Nervous laughter.